Hi there. I am so excited that you are watching this training. If you read the title correctly, that we are diving into really successful follow-up strategies. And so this video is going to be about 30 minutes long. I'm Connie Kercher. I serve as the elite entrepreneur coach where I serve and coach and mentor and come along mostly women entrepreneurs that really want to learn how to do strategy in their business, specifically in the places of marketing, in sales, and follow-up and retention so that they can continue to build a business model that makes sense for them inside and outside the business. And so if you're watching this video, you probably clicked on it to ask yourself, how can I do follow-up more intentionally? And so I have a slide deck that we're going to go through. Again, my style of coaching is to give you very tactile approaches that are tried and true and data-driven here in 2024. And so if this is a space that you're in where you are wanting to gain more knowledge, tips, and data-driven decisions around being an entrepreneur and scaling your business, be sure to like this video, make sure that you subscribe. I put on content every single week that is very tactile like this. I want to front load the information. And I also do offer retreats, one-on-one coaching, different group packages to support you in your entrepreneurial journey. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share the screen so we can get started. So right off the bat, what I want you to do is make sure that you have a pen and paper because I'm going to customize this training and give several examples to different business models. So what we're going to do is we're going to adult in our business. What do I mean by that? Is follow up. And a lot of people get very finicky or uncomfortable when it comes to follow up. You may be one of them, hence why you're watching this training in here. I want to encourage you that once you start something, you have to finish it. Okay. That's all the reason we do follow up in our business is that it is a department that should be living, breathing in our businesses. That the follow up department, the only purpose is that it builds confidence, it builds interest, and it keeps curiosity for your pipelines. Okay. It is completely ethical and it is okay. And the best of the best business owners do a fruitful way of following up. It still can be intentional. It still can make sure that it represents you and the way that you want follow up to happen in your business. There's not going to be in today's training a perfect formula. I'm going to say this has to be it and you can't do this. I don't operate in the dualistic, kind of way of coaching. The way that I come of service is I'm going to give you some options to look at follow up differently so that you can build that successfully for you. So, the first question I'm going to ask is if I said your engagement for the last 6 months as it pertains to your follow up strategies, most clients come to me and say, I'm about a 3, maybe on a good day a 4. And the main reason isn't because they haven't thought through what they want their follow up strategy to be. It's that it's associated with them being time poor. They couldn't get to that 15 call list in their CRM. They forgot to do the touch point 3 from networking. They, went to an event or an experience or an expo and they did not put on their calendar to follow up with that group of individuals 3 different times to set up a consultation, right? So, you know what the strategy is. It's not a container that's being activated on your calendar. So let me just get a, clean slate before I talk into these 5 strategies is I want you to get out of the thought process of follow up is a 1-to-1 ratio as your only and primary strategy. Now, of course, there are times, right? Because again, this is unique to every single person watching this training that the one-on-one follow-up is appropriate, right? Once they're further along, or there's a very specific ask you have for that prospect or for that, retained client. But I just want to give you the opportunity to see some other ways where you are a 1-to-many ratio as your follow-up strategy. So if you're taking notes, which you'll always hear me say, Connie Kercher, get out of your head onto paper. I'm sitting on your shoulder, lots of energy, great conversations and data to say, please stop doing all of your one-on-one on a 1-to-1 ratio. We are all time poor. The reason follow-up doesn't happen, the reason you don't finish it is because your model is not sustainable to do 20 one-on-one follow-ups every single day for 4 months, right? So I'm giving you the opportunity to ebb and flow every quarter, that some months you may be doing some of the strategies I'm going to talk about. Then maybe you pull back for 4 weeks because you have a lot on your family or personal plate. And then maybe you retract back and you take 2 weeks off of stronger follow-up strategies, but then you really step into it for another 6 week window. And what I call, kind of clean the slate of all your follow-up. And then you sit back and and see what percolates from that conversation. Okay. Or for those reach outs or from those events. So it does not have to be sustainable in the same cadence for 12 months. So if that's the greatest takeaway you have, keep watching the video. But please remember that it does not have to be the exact same cadence. You have the flexibility to ebb and flow that every quarter. And to start training yourself that the only reason I do follow up is not to be pesky, is not to be a stalker, is not because it's awkward, it's not because I'm desperate. None of that equates to why we have follow up in our business. Keep training yourself that the reason my customers and my prospects need follow up is because it builds confidence that they care about me. It builds interest in what's the next thing you are producing. And it builds curiosity for us to be able to speak to what your next thing is even more eloquently. Okay. So if I haven't already gotten off my soapbox of why follow up is a non negotiable anymore, I don't know what else I could say about that. All right. So let me tell you some data points. In 2024, 80% of your sales will come from touch point or engagement point 5 through 12. Now, majority of my clients feel awkward, whatever that means in business strategy, after 3 touch points. They don't know what to do next with that individual follow-up, right? And that's why then the rest of your CRM kind of sits dead, or the rest of the business cards sit dead, or you don't know why you keep showing up to those networking experiences. So what I want to just instill is that there should be a place that you have 5 to 12 engagement events, which we're going to talk about in this training, that people can funnel to. Instead of you having to worry about every touch point has to be, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11 needs to always be in a one-on-one capacity or modality. Let this start being brought through in masses. Let this start being in multiple person experiences. Okay. So let me keep bringing this to life. The first thing you need to decide is you need to clarify these 4 areas, aka categories, that you're going to follow up with. Now, most people that come to talk about follow-up strategies with me it can be for anybody. It can be to attract new clients. It could be for my power partners. It could be for my strategic alliances. It could be for retention. And what's not working is exactly that. Okay. The way I like to think about your follow up department is that it's this garden that is in 4 quadrants. And I'm going to get very, very minutia so that you have clarity of what I mean by these 4 areas. That it is your responsibility in this department and as the business owner to make sure that the garden is growing and that you have accessibility in all of these 4 areas so that you can keep putting people in one of these 4 buckets or categories. It's not going to work for you to build long-term follow-up strategies that are always dependent on the variable of the person. Okay, that is not sustainable. I would encourage, they have to fit within one of these 4 buckets for you to make it sustainable to make meaningful engagement points. Okay, so the first quadrant of your garden, if you will, that you're going to keep attracting and keep infiltrating and keep growing is your first quadrant is that you're re-engaging past clients. They've worked with you and they've been a one and done, or they have worked with you in some capacity and then, timing kind of drifted away, or they got their results or the solution that they, worked with you on. And now they kind of ebbed and flowed out of working with you or utilizing your products. So there's a huge part to be like, what do I want to do with that group of individuals? Is maybe one of the outcomes I'm going to talk about today is to re-engage past clients. That's quadrant 1. Okay. Get really clear, creating whether it be tagged in your CRM system or how you start categorizing conversations with people. Maybe that's going to be for, box number 1. Okay. Box number 2 is only putting on a follow-up strategy to attract new clients. They have joined the email list. They have downloaded the freebie. They have subscribed to your YouTube channel. They have liked XYZ, but they have never given you dollars. That's what I mean about the second quadrant in your garden of follow-up, okay? So it is they have never done a transaction with you, they have just attended or they have just been given a, referral introduction to you, but they never got on your calendar. We need to have a way to follow up with that subset, that subcategory in a meaningful and impactful way, okay? Now let's go to the third quadrant. It is for you to build an opportunity, an experience for you to cross expose in your current networks. Meaning, you probably have another way of doing your service or an additional service that your current networks don't know. So, there should be follow up strategies that they're already your super fans, they already are great referral partners, but you're trying to cross and go adjacent to another market or another way that your service can be positioned, and that should be a way, and I'm especially going to say strategy two will be most fruitful, that is a way and a why you're keeping people engaged. Touch point 5, 6, 7, 8 can be I'm cross exposing a new program we've created, a new way we have bundled a maintenance plan. That is a quadrant that is very tangible that we really overmit. And I'm saying it's 25% of the formula. Okay. And then I'm going to say the fourth quadrant, I personally believe is the most important. Okay. Not that it's takes away from 1, 2, and 3, but ultimately your business model is and your follow-up strategy is to retain clients. Like that is why we spend so much time and effort on the front to market, to brand, to get in front, to speak, to sponsor, fill in the blank, to get published, to be an author, is that we ultimately want to fully see that full circle. So we retain all of that ROI that we front loaded, right? So there should be a follow-up strategy that you are doing to retain your current clients. Keep the satisfaction and the feedback loop open and making sure that appreciation is being felt. That is a 1/4 of the way. And again, if you could do that in a more one to many ratio, it's going to be a much more sustainable way for you to do that. So let's talk about the 5 strategies. And again, I love to hear what was most impactful and knowing that there should be 4 categories when we talk about follow-up strategies. Put that in the comment section below. So the first strategy that you can utilize is an open house concept, okay? So this can be virtual or this can be in a tangible co-working space, boutique, concept. It could be at a beautiful coffee shop that you want to support locally, but it really is not meant to be just for the beginning of your business. Most people use this as an open house, a grand opening for you to, get introductions to what your product or your service is and to invite people to and invite people to. You can use this open house concept and an open hours concept to say, I've got 2 hours, I'd love to meet with 10 different people to troubleshoot. I can do, an assessment for you. I can do some laser coaching with you. And you're going to get exposed to this new product or this new way that we are, serving or finding a solution to, or we have this new add-on, we have this new bonus. So for the next 90 days, all of these 5 strategies, I want you to think about how could I implement? Because I can give you every marketing follow-up sales strategy for 10 more hours, but don't worry, the video is not that long. The most important part is for you to evaluate and implement how could I do this with it being very low cost, very low energy, but then I could take a segment of the 1, 2, 3, 4 categories I just shared with you and invite that whole segment into an open house. Okay. Again, these should be very short duration. I would not be doing an open house on a monthly cadence by any means. That is going to burn you out. But it could be a wonderful engagement tool, aka adulting tool. That is what our training is for this video, that you could follow up. And it could be a way to re-engage with everyone that has graduated, right? Graduated from your services, have experienced what you provided over the last couple years, and you could do an open house for them to mix and mingle and have some great conversations, okay? Or if you are in a place where you're an expert, a subject expert, and you have just a ton of people in your network that you want to cross network with, this would be a great way to do an open house concept as you talk about how you're positioning a new way of doing business or a new opportunity that you are offering. Okay, so think that through. If you need to pause the video at any time, really like line item out. It's not going to be get easier if you don't pause this video, whether you're on the treadmill listening to it or you're taking notes right now. Really take an action step and listen and line out four more lines for me to go through the next strategies. But think about how and out of those four categories you would utilize the open house concept. Let's keep rocking. So the second strategy is, I'd say, the most underutilized, and it's probably the most impactful one that I use and I always encourage my clients to use, is the focus group concept. Every data point will tell you that people love to give their opinion and love to give their input. So you could use this as a concept. I say that it should be about 6 people to maxing it out to 12. A focus group cannot be a group of 25 people. That's going to be way too hard to facilitate and not be as meaningful as what you want your follow-up strategy to be. But it's a way for you to get feedback or kind of a 360 lens evaluation of maybe some new marketing material you're going to put out there, or maybe a rebrand that is happening, or maybe a position of 6 other courses you're about to put together, or 6 different master classes that you're about to bundle and put on some ebooks. The way that you utilize a focus group as follow-up is, hey, I know that you've worked with me in the past, aka that first quadrant. I'd love to get your input. You understand our style of content. You understand the way that I coach. Would love some input for my next 12-week prioritization course. In exchange, I'd love to be able to offer you an audit spot or a complimentary spot to be a beta tester for this experience. Or maybe you say, I'm going to guest you a half price ticket to be able to take that opportunity into the next quarter. But the focus group concept allows you to over invite. So here's a data point I want you to write down. Attrition is real. That if I say the best way of filling the room virtually or face to face is about 6 to 12 people, that means you need to have about RSVP'd 24. So that means you really actually need to invite like 80, okay? Because people no show, people get sick, dogs get sick, the kiddos get sick. And so for you to have a fruitful, not, oh, Connie, I've got 6 people to my focus group next Tuesday, and I'm going to say only 2 of them are going to show up. And you're like, that's not very nice. And I'm going to go, well, that's the data, okay? So for you to execute this and be really thoughtful, take 80 people in your CRM system that this would be fruitful for. It's a wonderful engagement point. And then some of them are going to say, probably about half of them are to say, I don't have the time, I can't do it, let me know about the next one. Well, then that builds in a natural next follow-up step for you. All right. So please start thinking about how you can utilize focus groups when you're about to launch something new, get feedback for one specific segment that we talked about. Number 3 is that every single one of you watching this training is a content expert in your industry. You are always 6 steps ahead of someone. Even if you're only in that space for 3 years, you are 3 years ahead of historical knowledge that they do not know. Okay. So I love using the expert topic workshop for you to monetize, not because it's the price of the ticket, but to monetize all your follow up to say, you're working with all of these first time home buyers, but then you really know how to niche down how remodeling is going to impact the way that we're going to price, and how you work with some pieces you do need to keep them in-house, some pieces you probably should outsource. Well, you could do an expert topic for everyone that you have sold a house to, la, 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 that you think that they're about to sell, or they're about to downsize or upsize or find a second investment property. This would be your way to make sure that a huge group on your CRM list could be invited to hearing you and that expert new way topic. It's 45 minutes max. It's not something that you have to overthink. So what I find on strategy 3 as a follow-up is, you think that you have to go now hire a speaking coach, a nonverbal coach, a videographer. It has to be this perfect workshop, perfect slide deck. And I'm going, stop. It needs to be something that tomorrow, if I said, "Hey, I have a speaking opportunity for you at noon tomorrow in front of your ideal client or in front of everyone that you've done business in, what would that topic be? And what could you do in your sleep?" That's the content I'm talking about. So if you have to do a ton of front loading of research, or you're not so confident that you could flow with that flagship content, that's not the concept I want you to roll with. Okay. I want this to be one that you could absolutely do, and I'm not going to suggest this on a weekly basis, but you could do a virtual master class. You could invite people to know about the best practices in your industry, and you start positioning yourself as a thought leader, but let that be a follow-up strategy. Most people use the workshop, the expert topic workshop, as only a feeder to their sales funnel. I am coaching you and positioning it for it to be a backloaded way to funnel people that were maybe interested, right? All of that thing about that second group I talked about, they have not converted yet, right? But then you keep sending the, do you want to get on my calendar? Would you like me to send a proposal? Would you? And they're not responding to you. It is a much less invasive way to say, I have 20 spots to talk about first-time home buyers, or to talk about, strategy one-on-one in business. Would you like a complimentary ticket, for you and maybe one more person on your team? Think about how you could position this, because I'm now not having to spend 1 to 30 minutes with those 20 people, right? Like, I am so time poor, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes on just that introduction. I'm going to repeat the same stinking thing. Versus I get 20 people in front of me for those 35 minutes. Think about what I just multiplied and absolutely position myself to go, well, then they're going to vet themselves if they want to continue to work with you, or they want to continue to move forward with then being a proposal because they're still, kind of experiencing you. Well, then the three that come from there are already going to be way more of a warm lead, way more of a stronger follow-up, that then you move them to that personal touch point. Then they get more of your one-on-one high, customized conversation. But I'm going to tell you, it's not sustainable to keep that one-to-one ratio anymore. When you are rinsing and repeating what you're saying about your business or what you're giving them tidbits about, do a one-to-many ratio and start putting that on the calendar. Okay. I also have a great video that we just posted around how to market. So if you don't feel like, Connie, I could do the workshop every day, but I don't know how to market that, make sure that you check out. I'll put at the end of this video the link to that I talk about how to do a 3-phase marketing blitz so that you get some momentum there for sure. All right, we're going to go to 4 and then 5, and then I'm going to give you some synthesized calls to action. So if you're watching the video through this, I appreciate it. Make sure that you're getting any of your questions answered in this video. I make sure that I will respond to those in about 2 days. So the fourth strategy, I think, again, is for that fourth quadrant. When I talked about the end game of retention, of follow-up, is retention. So how often do you have a VIP client event? And please, again, do not overcomplicate this. This could be your top 10% of your clients. Write that down. Instead of them being on every mass email, every, mailer that you put out twice a year, every text message campaign you have automated, let this be the very thoughtful, special invitation, VIP experience for them to spend more time with you. Okay. The best follow-up strategy in terms of the VIP client is you're not cross-populating some of your key vendors and then some prospects and then some random people, because then the conversation is all over the place. If they have all done an experience with you and they've utilized your services and products, let them be in that room with you. Let them be in that happy hour with you. Let them be in that special dinner with you. So for the VIP client, I would say, if I would, use any of these strategies to get off the ground running for the next 90 days, pick your top 10%, because what's going to happen in 6 months, and it's not because I can forecast this, it's because my number one strength is futuristic and I know the data. Is your top 10% of your clients, if they do not feel appreciated, they do not have an engagement point, they don't feel some sense of tie to you, in 6 months, your top 10% now has just become 5. They have just naturally drifted away from you and your business. It is our responsibility. Remember, why the follow-up department exists in our lives and our businesses is to make sure that there is trust being built, there's stability in there, there's interest, and there's curiosity. That is not on your client's responsibility. That is ours. So if this even needs to be just a very simple, we go meet at a local brewery, we go meet at Topgolf, we go like keep it really, really simple. It doesn't have to be when I have clients be like, I need to find the perfect embroidered robe with the monogram of their family, and I need to get their dog a gift, and I need to get their grandmother. Like, I appreciate the individualization, but can you do that for all top 10% of your clients for the next 10 years? Probably not. For you to really hone in and start strategizing this to go, got it, Connie. I'm doing this with my top 10% multiple times because it takes much more, quantity than it used to, right? And what I hear when people say, well, I did it 3 times, and I'm like, that wasn't enough quantity. Well, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong. It just requires now doing business, just now as being a business owner, that you need to build up more quantity of touch points, adulting engagement touch points, and we need to start accepting that. Okay. Last but not least is you to be able to organize a virtual summit, an interview, or a panel concept. So the way I like to position this is that they just went on a retreat with you, right? So I just ended up wrapping up the Elite Entrepreneur Retreat in Mexico, being able to activate, the 6 attendees to speak about and their testimony to and what their outcomes were in which they would have known before, working with me, and what's been different, the changes that's been different, attending that retreat. How powerful is that? That if you have a group of individuals that have been looking to maybe, activate with you, or you have a new product, again, a new service coming to the forefront, and you invite some of those people that you network with that trust you and know you and like you, but then those people can talk about what it's like to experience that type of solution. So much more meaningful than a static graphic on social media. That's still important, but when it comes to follow up, hearing someone's journey and transformation, write that down on this 5th strategy. Is that when you're doing follow up, you are trying to explain and understand and explain and understand both sides of the table of why they need to keep working with you, right? Like follow up is, hey, this is what we have. Are you in a season of readiness to do that? This is what we offer. Would this be a fit for you? You're always in that dance, right? So this 5th strategy gives you an opportunity where it's not your voice having to do the explanation of that, because it does get monotonous. It gets monotonous for you, and it also probably gets monotonous for the person you're following up for, right? But if you could talk about 5 different individuals that maybe they associate with one of them, that has, partake in one of your services, or has taken one of your workshops, or has worked with you in, X capacity, that may be the relational point that they need to hear, not from you, but from someone from a different walk of life. Okay. So please do not skip on the interview, the panel, the conversation of having 3 to 5 individuals share for 15 minutes in an interview style, 3 basic questions, and then some Q&A time at the end, so that that could be, again, a 1-to-many ratio, not a, I'm going to follow up with individual emails or individual voice memos on the 3 testimonials of what it would be to work with you. Okay, super powerful. And it takes you away from the one-on-one time drain to filling a room, filling a virtual afternoon, right? Like really think that piece through. I would say this one, again, the focus group and the interview and panel, they are no brainers. Do not overthink them, and think through your 5 super fans that love working with you. They would absolutely love to talk about for 15 minutes what they wish they would have known and what transformation they've had. Okay. So here is your call to action. If you watch the end of this video, I am so appreciative, by all means, right? Like my heart and passion is making sure that I'm paying for all of my own experiences, all of my wins, all of my learning opportunities, so that you can continue to adult in your business, right? From a place of being a really intentional CEO, being very thoughtful of how you create and craft marketing and sales strategies, and really making sure that you do follow follow up, right? Like as a very important part, not you fear follow up. So I have put on the playlist here on YouTube the 10-day adulting challenge. So this was a paid experience for a subset of my clients. I've now made that free access there on the playlist that I'm going to put in the link. You can watch that at any time. Okay. So it's a Monday through Friday sequence. Or you can just binge watch Adulting 10 Engagement Challenge and watch 20 minutes at a time and take some great notes. But if you enjoyed the content and learning these follow-up strategies and what it takes to engage the adults, what it takes to adult in your business, it gives you 10 more working strategies with a very tactile and a lot of different examples. The second piece I would just love to share with you is that there is the next Women's Elite Entrepreneur Retreat in September 20th through 25th, 2025. Again, this is for 8 high caliber women that are ready to scale, that are ready to have a white glove experience for you to decompress and really remove from distractions so you can fully show up as your best CEO self and focus on strategic planning, sales strategies, and marketing strategies. So if you think you're a fit for that and want to explore that opportunity, my link is in the bio of this video that you can get to my calendar and we can have just an exchange to make sure that we are a fit and that you can get all of your questions answered. So I'm going to stop the share. And I'm going to wrap this up in this video that again, if you have not liked or subscribed to this channel, I would love to be able to hear what else you would like trainings on, if it is more in the space of marketing, or what your greatest takeaway was for today to hear about really successful ways of doing follow-up that are not monotony driven, that are not going to be mundane, and that are actually going to be meaningful. So I appreciate the time. I know that it is a blessing to pay forward information. And then more importantly, my challenge to you is yes, go watch the 10-day adulting challenge. Yes, if you're interested in additional coaching, one-on-one group, or the upcoming retreat, please make sure that you send me a private message or just go ahead and hop on the calendar. But really the most important part that would just like fill my heart up is go and implement. Okay. There is no reason that you are not fully equipped right now to take one of the strategies we talked about in this training and get into action. Okay. I will keep always pouring into this is the best practices. This is how I would do it. I always give you scripting so that you have some technical skills being built. But I'm going to encourage you as the CEO of your business and of your life. You have to take action to get some working ways to know that got closer to us. That didn't quite work. That is your greatest opportunity for you that I can't do. Okay. So what a blessing to be able to pour into this training. If you have any questions, please make sure that you contact us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.